We adopt a child or children. I just heard a story of one about to adopt 4. We adopt a child not for our own glory, but for God's glory. God adopted us for His glory, therefore we should adopt for His glory. Don't make the mistake of saying, God adopted for His own glory, therefore we should adopt for our own glory. That's demonic. That's the way Satan talked in the garden. Clever half-truths. The right analogy for copying God is if God does things for the glory of God, we do things for the glory of God. That's the way to imitate God. And if He adopts to the praise of His grace, we adopt to the praise of His grace. So, when you're asking the question, should I adopt a child? The first and decisive questions are not feasibility and financial. The first and decisive questions are questions like these. Is my heart fixed on glorifying the grace of God in this adoption? Glorifying, making look good the grace of God. Is my aim to make the grace of God look glorious? Is Christ the center and goal of this decision? Are all the factors that I'm weighing being weighed in relation to Christ and His great provision for me? We adopt a child not for our glory, but for the glory of the grace of God. Do you make grace look good? Number 2. In adopting and rearing a child, our goal is not to make much of the child, but to live and teach and lead in such a way that the child grows up to enjoy making much of God. Let's say that again. That was a long sentence. We do not adopt a child to make much of him. We adopt a child to so lead and teach and model that the child grows up to enjoy not being made much of, but making much of God. Finds in his heart the joy of making much of God. Our aim is not to take a child's low views of self and turn them into high views of self. Our aim is to take a child with low views of God and replace them with high views of God. Our aim is not to take a child with little sense of worth and fill him with a great sense of worth. Rather, our aim is to take a child who by nature thinks the world revolves around himself and show him that he was made to put God at the center and get joy, not from seeing his own tiny worth, but from knowing Christ who is of infinite worth. It's a huge challenge for parents to rear counter-American like that. We adopt to lead a child to everlasting joy in making much of the glory of the grace of God. We adopt to lead a child into the everlasting joy of making much of the glory of the grace of God. You don't give a child a big head on the way to that process.